What's good, guys? Fancy Joe back here with our mock draft Monday. Today we are drafting from the 108 half-point PPR. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and if you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comment section down below. Check out the roster right here. Typical league format: 1 QB, 2 running back, 2 wide receivers, tight end, and the flex. Let's dive in. Really interested to see a lot of really good wide receivers usually get to me at this point of the draft. You can kind of have your pick of the litter usually between Puka or an Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra went right before me. CD Lamb went at the 106. I think he's a good value where he's going in drafts lately, him being CD Lamb, of course. So we've got Derrick Henry here, Puka, Nacua. I do kind of want to see how the draft would turn out. I feel like looking at the wide receivers, there's a good amount of guys I like, but after these first 10 wide receivers are gone, I feel like there's a pretty big drop-off to this next tier of player to me. I don't quite see the same thing at the running back position. So I'm going to go ahead and take Puka Nacua here. I think he's going to be a dynamic player, get a ton of target volume in that offense. And then we're back up here in round 2. We still have some good running backs on the board. I'm going to go ahead and take Josh Jacobs here. I think the Green Bay Packers have a good offense. They've made some investments into their offensive line this offseason as well. Rashee Rice goes off the board, but we've got Puka, we've got Josh Jacobs. I feel like that's a good 1-2 punch to start so far. Apologies for that background noise. That's my dog. He just wanted to run in real quick. Lay down. Okay, but let's get back to the draft. So having one of each. Josh Allen is a little tempting to me here, especially just to see how the roster turns out. I do think he's worth a third-round pick. And you know what? It's a mock draft, so we're going to go ahead and pull the trigger on Josh Allen here. I just think he is a surefire thing. The only thing that's stopping Josh Allen from being successful for fantasy football is injury. So let's go ahead and take him there. Mike Evans is available in round 4. I'm going to take him as well. He was dominant when he was on the field last year. Missed a few games, but when he was out there, like I said, really good for you for fantasy football. Baker's back. Chris Godwin, I don't expect to have a monster year, just being an older player coming off that injury, and they bring in a first-round wide receiver. I think Mike Evans is going to be the one by a good amount. Let's just take a look at the squad. So we've got solid wide receivers. I like both those guys. We could use an RB2, and I do think Aaron Jones would be a great RB2. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm between Devonta Smith and Jameson Williams here. I'll take the upside of Jameson Williams with some of the other guys that I've got on the roster already. And then we come back around here. Aaron Jones still on the board, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger on him here in round 6. He was a good player last year. I like having him as my RB2 considering the wide receivers I got. And I definitely would not have guessed that my running backs and wide receivers would be this solid considering taking that early pick on Josh Allen. So I'm really happy with the way that the team has turned out. Sure, I don't have the depth of having, a skill player on my bench so far, but I'm still happy with it. I'm tempted to take Rome Odunze here. Let's see. Am I on the long term here, I believe? Nope, short term. You know what? We're going to take Brian Robinson Jr. They've got a good offense that should score a lot of touchdowns. Another guy, when he was out there, very successful for fantasy football. Rome Odunze comes back to us. I was between him and Jaden Reed. I'm going to go ahead and take Rome Odunze. Now, I really like the depth, honestly. I haven't taken Josh Allen in many drafts. It's just because it doesn't get to me very often in round 3. But like I said, I do like the way that this is one that has turned out so far this year. Cooper Kupp down here, wide receiver 46. I'm not the biggest Cooper Kupp guy, but at this point in the draft, there's very few players that have the upside that he has. Mooney's a good player as well. Well, I'm going to go ahead and take Cooper Kupp here, round 9. Again, not a pick I really thought I would ever really make, but just with the players around him, I think he is dramatically better than a lot of these other guys. I don't usually do this either, but I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger on Austin Eckler just because I think he is a talented football player. He looked really good again last year. And, we're just at that point of the draft. I feel like it's worth taking shots. I just secured the backfield on a good team, and sure it's my RB3 spot, but I know I can roll a player out there just about every single week in that spot. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at some of the tight ends we've got. I am going to take Tucker Kraft here in round 11. Thought he looked good in the field. He's a young ascending player. And I'm going to go ahead and take Marshawn Lloyd here in round 12, another guy. I just think if anything happens to Josh Jacobs, he could be, a league winner, and I think he has a ton of upside as a weekly flex guy by week 3, 4, 5, somewhere in that range, as he's integrated in the offense after a banged-up rookie year. But if you look at his profile coming out of USC a few years ago, great yards per carry, great in the passing game, just does a lot of things really well, and I'd love to get him on some of my teams. Okay, taking a look at who's still out here, I'm going to go ahead and take a shot on the upside of Marquise Brown and that Chiefs offense. That was my 13th pick coming up here in round 4. Going to go ahead and take a shot on Dylan Sampson in Cleveland. I do think Judkins is a guy, but he was a dynamic player this last year for the Tennessee Volunteers. So that's going to conclude the draft. But let's just go over the team here real quick. We've got Josh Allen, Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Puka Nacua, Mike Evans, Tucker Kraft, Jameson Williams, Brian Robinson Jr., Roma Dunze, Cooper Kupp, Austin Eckler, Marshawn Lloyd, and Marquise Brown. And then Dylan Sampson rounds it out. I do think this is a deeper team than I really thought it was going to be, using that third-round pick on the quarterback. But you go out with get a guy like Josh Allen who can score you 24 points a game, be a difference maker above the rest of the field at his position. That's really what you're looking for in fantasy football, is guys that can score dramatically more points than that next tier of players that you're drafting from. You always want to be picking players like that if possible, and there's not a ton of them out there, but to be able to secure one in round 3 like Josh Allen and be able to get the receivers, solid running backs, a good flex. Really like the way the team turned out. And going to be posting a lot more content on the channel coming up. We'll be coming out with my top 12 wide receivers, top 12 running backs. Maybe we even do more. Maybe we do top 20. But there will be running back rankings, wide receiver rankings coming on the channel soon. I'm going to do a series on guys I can't stop drafting. While we do some fantasy football profiles. So just let me know what kind of content, what fantasy football profiles you want to see down in the comment section down below. I respond to all comments. I'll see you guys next Monday with another mock draft, and just stick around on the channel. Like I said, a lot more content coming to you soon. So thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and thank you for liking and commenting on Fantasy Joe. Have a great rest of your day, guys. See ya.